Hello, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Bit Reviews, the podcast where we talk about games. If you don't know what Bit Reviews is, we score games 1 through 8, and we talk about different aspects of a game, like its story, the graphics, and gameplay elements. Sometimes we will go into the soundtrack, but I don't usually listen to the soundtrack games too much. Only certain games I really have, and those games that we will talk about. But today is not really one of those games. So today we're going to be talking about Among Us, and I have my friend here.
Yeah, I'm Austin. Good to be on the podcast. Thank you, Kevin.
Today we're going to be talking about Among Us. So if you don't know what Among Us is, it is a game made in like 2018, but didn't really take storm until 2021 or 2020, something like that, when people just really started ramping it up. I think it also just was put onto the iOS game store, so people finally saw it, and then Twitch streamers, they brought it into fame. This game is just a game that will personally haunt me forever. It is one of those games that you will see everywhere once you play it, and it will never stop, and it will never leave you alone. But anyways, let's get into the first aspect of Among Us. So first we're going to talk about the story. And the story, you're kind of just, they don't really like explain it to you, but you're basically just people on a ship, and there's an imposter among you guys, and you have to figure out this imposter, and you do that by voting them out, and you have to get them all before the imposter kills all the crewmates. And it's a very interesting concept for a story. What do you think, Austin?
I think the story is pretty simple. You're just astronauts or something on a spaceship, and you have to do spaceship stuff like cleaning air vents and you know doing navigation stuff like that. I think the tasks and
That's more gameplay wise. We should
yeah,
probably
but I
not
feel
talk
like
about that yet. It's not really part of the story.
I feel
I mean,
like it is part of the story because like that's like just the day to day of what the astronauts do.
yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it's their day to day. They're just kind of going among their lives, trying not to die from the imposter.
Mm-hmm.
And they aren't always on a ship. There are 4 different maps, I believe. There's the Skeld, the airship, the other two I can't really think of off the top of my head, but it's not really important. But they're kind of cool maps. But that's more gameplay, so we'll get that to in a second. But the story, you're just trying to figure out who the imposter is, and you do this by vote. The game is definitely much better played with friends, so you can interact with people, but there's a chat, so you can play with strangers. That's basically the story. There's not much to it. You're either the crewmate or the imposter, and you're trying to suss out each other and win the game. So let's get into the graphics-wise. And the graphics, it's a 2D game, so the graphics are all pixelated. It's very fun, and I think they do well designing the world and everything around it. The characters are definitely going to be really well remembered. I think that because of the way they are literally just like a blob of like they're, I don't even know how to describe it honestly, but once you see it, you will see it everywhere, and it haunts you forever.
Yeah, I think just the character being just these really simple shapes, but still like kind of distinct, that you can pretty much hide them anywhere in a drawing if you like, or people will see them in like just random places on the street and be like, hey, that kind of looks like the Among Us character.
Yeah, they it's definitely a memorable like character style. I don't know what it is about me. Like this game is very pop culture now, so like if you haven't heard of it already, I kind of insane to me honestly. But I do think the actual like maps are really well designed.
Mm-hmm.
They are like they make sense for where they are, and it's just they're really cool to look at too. It's all hand. I mean, it's not hand drawn, but it's all 2D, so it's not like 3D models or anything. So the graphics aren't really going to look bad in a sense. It's not like the old times when they're just like 16 pixel. Like no, they're really good looking graphics for a 2D game like this, and I think they did a great job designing these characters so they are very memorable to people, and people just think about them nonstop now anymore, and it's just you can see it anywhere now, and it's funny. It's really funny to me.
Yeah, I think they did a pretty good job with the graphics. It's pretty simple. It's kind of in the vein of those Henry Stickmin games, just more fleshed out. like the infiltrate the airship, breaking the bank, those games uh, that were pretty popular on just internet browsers back in the
Yeah,
day.
yeah. Okay, so I guess we'll get into the gameplay, which is kind of what the core of what this game is. It's hard to talk about the gameplay without the story. That's why like I kind of wrapped up the story pretty quickly there, because it's mostly just gameplay. So basically, during the gameplay, you are the imposter. I'm gonna explain this again. You're either the imposter or a crewmate, choosing completely random at the beginning of the game. If you're the imposter, your goal is to go and kill all the crewmates. Basically, it's pretty gruesome if you think about it that way. And if you're a crewmate, your goal is to work with all the other crewmates and figure out who this imposter is, so you can vote them off the ship and keep everyone else alive. And I think they do a great job with this. It's kind of sad sometimes though that they don't have in voice game chat. So like I mean like an in voice like voice chat in game. That's what I meant to say. Because then you can kind of talk to people more easily. But they do offer a text chat that you can use if you want to play with strangers, and it works, but it's not always the most efficient. I want to say that's definitely one of the drawbacks, and people don't always listen to each other. It's kind of more just it relies on you on how you want to play the game to win it. It's kind of like here's a layout, you play it how you want to play it, and they do have rules that you could follow to make a game more realistic, but they it's not always the case that way.
Yeah, there's a lot of different customization options you can choose for your lobby of players. Like you can change the speed of the crewmates or of the imposter. You can change like the cooldown of how much the imposter has to wait between kills. There's a lot of like different things you can tweak to make the gameplay experience just more suited to the play style of your group. It's I would definitely say it's a lot more fun with friends than with random people because you get to go in a voice chat and have the at its core, it's a social deception game. So it's really interesting to be able to have like the arguments of oh yeah I saw him here or I saw a yellow vent, which is something only the imposter can do, and there's like a lot of intrigue that way that I think kind of serves the game pretty well without the actual game having to do much on its own.
Yeah, I actually totally forgot about the whole settings thing. Yeah, you get to personalize the game as much as you like in the settings. They give you so many options to changing the player movement, to changing the kill cooldown for the imposter, to changing how much each task you have to do. And yeah, another way to win the game, I actually forgot to talk about, is with the crewmates. You can complete tasks, and once all your tasks are completed, you can win that way. It's kind of the rarest way to win because usually people are able to suss out the imposter. The imposters are able to get everyone before that happens. But it really depends how much you play, how you play it, and stuff like that. And I think it's just the gameplay is definitely really fun. I definitely have enjoyed it. I remember times I don't really like to play with the proper rules. If I'm the imposter, I used to or like if I'm the imposter, I like to find friends that would like I know would like help me be the imposter to win. Like they call those third imposters. So like you basically tell them that you're the imposter, and you go around and you just acting like completely suspicious to everyone, and you kind of just like it's really funny because like they think, oh, your friend's the imposter then, but actually you're the imposter, but you made them look more suspicious than you can. And there's just like you really could just play however you want to win. And I know I've been like some people like I when I'm the imposter, I like to be brutally honest. Like I will straight up like yeah, I killed that person, and I literally sometimes win that way because people just don't believe me anymore that I'm actually the imposter or not, because I act like I'm the imposter like even if I'm a crewmate, and it's just really fun to me doing that.
Yeah, your behavior like definitely carries over between rounds. Once people suss out your playstyle, it becomes like kind of a different game. that like, okay, well, I know that Kevin usually does this, so I don't know if I believe him here.
Yeah, that's very true. Like sometimes, if I'm not the imposter, I'll wait until the imposter kills someone, and when you find a dead body, you're supposed to report it. But I don't do that. I just kind of stand on the body and see if people notice that. And then when they come up, they think it's me, even though I'm just standing there on the body, like trying to hide it, even though I'm not the imposter. And then I usually get voted out for that, but I'm not always, but like most of them I do. And then they're like, oh, you're not the imposter. Why would you do that? And it drives people insane. And it's really funny to me.
Yeah, and let's see. Another thing the imposter can do is they can create what are they called? Disasters, emergencies.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Emergencies. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what it's
emergencies.
called. Where they can shut off the lights or like make one of the O2 reactors go haywire, and all the crew has to go and fix it. So that's another layer of, oh, hey, why weren't you going to fix the lights? Or, hey, I saw this guy at O2. Because, eventually everyone has to all meet up in the same place in order to fix the disaster. Or it could be a good place for the imposter to wait for a kill. Yeah. Like, a lot of times, what'll happen is there's a bunch of people crowded around the lights, and one person dies, and no one knows who did it because there's so many people there. It could have been anyone.
Yeah, yeah. That's true too. And this game is definitely just. I totally forgot about that. Like the thing. There's so many aspects to this game. And there's also like they also just in the latest update added like new abilities that each person can have.
Oh, yeah.
So usually in the very beginning of the game, the imposter is the only one that can what so-called venting. They can hop into a vent and travel quickly around the map, and they were the only ones able to do that. But then they added new aspects to these imposters and characters. Now some crewmates, if you have this certain thing, you can now become you can now vent, or you can now look at people's vitals, and you can see who's alive and who's dead. Or the imposter can now shapeshift, which is basically you can just transform into somebody else and act like them. And it's really funny that they added these things. I don't think they added like a detective mode yet, where like this person's like easily find the person or kill like a person. I don't think that's a part of the game yet, but I'm sure they'll add something like that in the future. So now actually I just want to this isn't really gameplay wise, but just like a lot of the pop culture that came from this game actually, because it became like a really big influence because I guess everyone was just bored and quarantined, so this was a great way to get along with people and play with friends and stuff like that. And it's just funny. So like one of the things is like nobody says suspicious anymore. It's always sus. Like you are sus, and it's just it's just really funny to me that has become the new mainstream. And I've mentioned it before, but like Among Us has just become everywhere, and like every time you hear the word Among Us, like you just like, oh, like I don't know, it's just funny. Like you just like joke about it. I don't know. It's just like every time, like, oh, they said the thing, they said Among Us in the movie that has nothing to do with Among Us, or
the Pokemon Among Us.
Yes, the Pokemon Among Us has become
never gonna be the same anymore.
It's now sus now. And the just the characters herself, like literally, I was not joking when I'm saying like people are just like seeing it everywhere now, and it's just funny. Like you go on Instagram, you go on Twitter, and you're just like, oh my god, it's the Among Us character, and it's just really funny to me how this game has influenced the world in this way, because it's such a simple game, but it has really turned the world in a weird way with its pop culture now. But I think that's it now for gameplay and everything. I guess we'll just get on to the reviews of the game. And honestly, this game, it's a really good game. It's not perfect, but it's just so much fun to play with your friends and just goof around in and stuff like that. So I'm personally going to give it an 8 out of 8 bits.
Yep.
What about you, Austin?
I'll give it a 7 out of 8. It's really, like, the game is really what you make of it.
Yeah.
Like, for some people, it can get like super frustrating for them, and if you're in a random lobby, it might be like kind of boring. If it's just in you only have a text chat or no voice chat. If you're playing with a good group of friends, you can you can have fun, and when it is fun, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that
So
is very true.
I think it's not perfect, but again, it is what you make of it. So if you have the means to make it a good time, then it can be a very good time.
Yeah. Maybe one day I'll actually review a game that I don't like a lot. But we're only 4 episodes in, so there's so many games out there that I've played, so we'll see in the future. But that's going to be it for today. Thank you guys for listening. If you want to hear more about some shows, make sure you listen to the other podcasts. We got Legends Arceus, we got Mario Kart, and we got To the Moon so far. So if you guys want to listen to that more, thank you for Austin for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a real pleasure, and I will see you guys in the next podcast. Peace.